If you clicked on this video, you've definitely thought about this. Just how much more pro is the Pocket 4P compared to the Pocket 4? Is it really worth spending an extra 2,990 yuan? Dropping that much cash for this dual lens version feels a bit weird. My guess is you're choosing it for the image quality, especially with that 60mm equivalent telephoto lens. It lets you instantly punch in 3x from the main cam. The Pocket 4P's image quality is actually better than expected, but there's another interesting twist with the image quality. At first, we thought either it's telephoto or main lens shared at least one sensor with the standard Pocket 4, but our testing showed DJI actually chose to give the Pocket 4P two completely different sensors. Why would DJI, the master of supply chain management, do that? Let's switch up the structure of the show this time. We'll look at sample footage first and talk hardware later, because if nothing else, the Pocket 4P has highlight and shadow retention. That is absolutely insane. The Pocket 4P's design is lot like their drones. The filter swapping method is also just like the DJI Air 3S. The official lineup includes this 0.75x wide-angle lens, which expands the field of view to 15mm, and the fill light from the Pocket 4 can also be used on this Pocket 4P. All of that was expected. So what took us by surprise? DJI actually released a white version of the body. Take a look. Do you prefer the black or the white? As for the weight, the Pocket 4P body alone is around 230 grams. That's about an AirPods case heavier than the Pocket 4. So in actual use, the weight difference isn't that noticeable. If anything, the weight between the head and body feels more balanced now. Holding it in hand, the center of gravity feels more stable. Meanwhile, the gimbal arm is slightly longer, so the motor torque is tuned higher than the Pocket 4. You can see the stabilization is nothing to worry about. Other than that, everything below the neck is identical to the Pocket 4. Wait, not completely identical. Aside from the built-in storage, it surprisingly has a bit less. The Pocket 4 has 107 gigabytes, while the 4P only has 103 gigabytes. Vertical recording specs match the Pocket 4 too, maxing out at 3K 60 frames per second. No higher options. That's a bit of a complaint for me, but the main reason you're buying this is probably still the telephoto lens. Take a look. Comparing the telephoto to digital zoom, the difference between the Pocket 4 and 4P is night and day. This time DJI packed in a brand new 37-megapixel, 1/2.8-inch sensor. It's paired with the 60mm equivalent f/1.8 lens. As for the 60mm focal length, I don't know if you'll like using it. Say if you want to shoot from a bit further away, you might find the field of view a bit too wide, not tight enough. The spatial compression isn't as strong as a phone, so the subject won't pop as much. If DJI had gone with 70 to 80mm, it would have felt a lot better. On the flip side, they must have carefully considered this 60mm length. It does have its advantages. The biggest highlight is the minimum focus distance. It's absolutely crazy. It can focus at just 30 centimeters. Being this close, you can quickly switch to 3x while vlogging. That way, whatever you're holding can be fully framed, whether it's a piece of cake or a drink. It showcases them beautifully. It's super convenient. Another benefit is, when you shoot up close, the background blur gets much stronger, while the framing doesn't feel too tight. So looking at these close-up telephoto shots, the bokeh is actually quite lovely, right? I bet this will satisfy what many want from a telephoto. Beyond that, another core reason DJI chose this focal length was likely to ensure accurate autofocus. With tracking shots moving in and out like this, you can see the focus hold steady. No annoying hunting. Aside from the practical experience, how is the actual image quality for this telephoto lens? My conclusion is, it depends. When you get close to a specific subject, the sharpness is actually pretty good. You can see plenty of detail, but if you back away a bit, You'll notice this telephoto lens is noticeably softer than the main cam. It looks like the details are a bit smudged, especially if you punch in further to 6x. That feeling becomes even more obvious because it's natively a 3x optical lens that uses resampling and cropping to reach 6x. So you can think of the Pocket 4P's telephoto quality as being very close to the iPhone 17 Pro's telephoto. But here comes the but. The strongest feature of the Pocket 4P, as mentioned earlier, is its dynamic range. Its ability to retain highlights and shadows completely destroys any smartphone telephoto. Credit where credit is due. Our tests show the telephoto delivers about 13 to 14 stops of dynamic range. Compared to a phone's telephoto, you can clearly see it preserves significantly more highlight information. This performance really exceeded our expectations. Perhaps the only drawback is that it lifts shadow details a bit too much, resulting in more noise, especially when shooting at night. Since the sensor isn't as large as the main cam, the noise is quite noticeable. I recommend saving this telephoto lens. For well-lit conditions, the results will be much better. For recording specs, the Pocket 4P's telephoto supports 4K 60 frames per second in D-Log and 4K 200 frames per second slow motion in standard color. So it's a solid package overall. A lot of people also worry about rolling shutter, like when you whip it around, does the image warp? Well, the Pocket 4P does have some effect, but it's not a major issue. As long as you aren't panning as fast as we are, you won't really notice any obvious jello effect in daily use. So all in all, how do I feel about this telephoto? I think if you use it for people or objects, especially for close-ups, the results are truly excellent. But if you have sky-high expectations, its image quality won't beat an interchangeable lens camera. You need to keep your expectations realistic. That said, the Pocket 4P's main camera might completely change your perspective. DJI even created a dedicated D-Log M2 curve just for this main sensor. None of DJI's other professional gear has D-Log M2, yet the Pocket 4P gets this new curve. Take a look at the upcoming sample clips. Using this curve, the Pocket 4P's main cam incredibly hits 17 stops of dynamic range. Lens-wise, the Pocket 4P matches the Pocket 4. Both feature a 20mm equivalent f/2.0 lens. The big change is this 1-inch sensor. It's a loft sensor. Explaining what loft is takes more than a sentence or two. Simply put, this sensor's highlight handling capability is insane because of this unique sensor. The D-Log M2 curve isn't available on the telephoto lens, nor on the standard Pocket 4. Only the Pocket 4P's main camera can use it. Our testing revealed that at ISO 1600, the dynamic range peaks, reaching around 17 stops. What does that actually mean? Only some of the top-tier cinema cameras in the industry can actually hit that kind of dynamic range. I'm not exaggerating here. Dynamic range isn't the only metric for image quality, nor does it mean everything is perfect. But when it comes to preserving highlight and shadow details, this sensor is remarkable. When shooting real samples, you'll notice, in high-contrast scenes where standard D-Log blows out, switching to D-Log M2 instantly recovers the highlights. Look at that. Boom. Everything is preserved perfectly. And with this curve, the biggest advantage in high-contrast scenes is you can confidently overexpose by 1 to 2 stops, then pull it back in post to get incredibly clean shadows. In fact, when I use the Pocket 4P's main cam now, I just lock the ISO at 800, dial in +1 to +1.3 electron volts, and shoot on auto exposure. It won't clip in most scenarios, and yields a very clean shadow response. Honestly, this is currently my favorite way to work with this curve, but there is one thing to watch out for. Don't let the screen preview scare you. The display makes it look horribly overexposed, just like Nikon cameras. I'm not sure why DJI didn't optimize this feature. It's super frustrating to use. Hopefully, a future firmware update fixes this. Putting dynamic range aside, let's look at the main cam again. The sharpness is actually on par with the Pocket 4. When zooming in 2x, look at the quality. At first glance, it doesn't even look as good as the Pocket 4. Pretty strange, right? DJI engineers said the 2x lossless zoom isn't fully optimized for this sensor yet. They might add this feature via a firmware update later on, so right now it's kind of funny. The standard Pocket 4 actually handles lossless zoom on the main cam, a bit better than the Pocket 4P. Seeing this, I'm sure you have a good grasp of the Pocket 4P's lenses and their image quality, right? But you're probably also curious about the overall user experience, battery life tracking, and the compatible remote controller, right? Let's look at battery life and thermals first. Many worry that adding a second camera will heavily drain the battery. After all, the battery capacity matches the Pocket 4 at 1,545 mAh. Our test showed it does offer less runtime than the Pocket 4. For a full day of casual shooting, one battery handle gets drained completely right at the end, so carrying an extra handle or a power bank is a safer bet. Luckily, it charges very fast. You can hit a full charge in about half an hour. We tested the thermals too. It's similar to the Pocket 4. We didn't experience any overheating shutdowns during testing. Now, if you want to talk about a major difference in experience, I'd say it's active track on the telephoto lens. While it locks onto faces most of the time and is pretty impressive, keeping up even when moving or running, the telephoto perspective makes it very different from wide-angle tracking when tracking smaller objects. It's tough to precisely control the framing. The subject tends to drift off-center easily. The panning can also feel a tiny bit sluggish, and if the subject gets blocked by the foreground, it twitches like this. I really hope DJI refines this algorithm, even though it's already quite capable. Accessory-wise, the Creator Combo now includes a remote controller with a screen. I honestly think this thing is great. I might even like it more than the camera itself. It's actually the detachable screen from the latest Osmo mobile stabilizer. You just pop it off, and you can use it to monitor the Pocket 4P or Pocket 4. Both work perfectly. You can control the gimbal with the joystick, double-tap the screen to track, and even playback footage on it. Plus, the transmission range and stability totally blew us away. In an open environment with a clear line of sight, the feed remains smooth even 100 meters away, so using this as an ultra-compact monitor is pretty awesome. Pair it with this mini car mount vibration dampener, and this setup is currently the smallest and most convenient car mounting solution we've tested, all in all from my time with it. The extra money for the Pocket 4P basically buys you a solid telephoto perspective with natural bokeh and close-up focusing capabilities, along with a main camera that massively upgrades the dynamic range. Everything else is identical to the Pocket 4. I don't know if you think it's worth the cash, but for smaller professional crews, it's probably a justified expense. At least for our company's documentary shoots, our directors are equipping the crew with one. It gives us an extra telephoto angle without catching the other cameras near the guest. No crew in the shot, so it definitely has its uses. And that's our hands-on review of the DJI Pocket 4P. It's a bit short, since it really is very similar to the Pocket 4. You can check out our previous episode on that, which covers things a bit more thoroughly. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like, comment, and share. Hit that follow button too. And feel free to share this video with your friends. Do you think they'd want the Pocket 4P or the Pocket 4? See you guys next time. If you like it, please like, comment, and share. You can also follow us or share this video with your friends. Will they want the Poke 4P or Poke 4? See you next time.
巨凉、巨帅、巨防晒。凉感夏日功能外套，到时候
These two are functional jackets.